Welcome to the news on the AM show. In our first story, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is asking Muslims in Ghana to unite to fight their common enemies. He describes illiteracy, disease and poverty as reasons behind the slow progression of Muslims across the country. Precious Semevo has more.
The two-day extraordinary meeting of the Conference of Regional Chief Imams afforded participants the chance to discuss, approve and adopt their draft constitution that also borders on peace, unity and development. The conference at the Ghana Muslim Mission Mosque in Sunyani in the Bono region was attended by various Islamic sects, chiefs and other Islamic organizations. In his address, the Vice President Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia said diversity in Islam would continue, hence the need for Muslims to come together and fight the common enemy to ensure development in their communities. Alhaji Ben Abdallah Banda, the coordinator for Zongo and Inner City Development, spoke on his behalf.
For the Muslim Ummah, our common enemies to me are three: illiteracy, disease, and poverty. Our road is bad. How do we as a collectivity deal with it? We have no water, we have no electricity, we have no schools, we need scholarships, issue bordering on livelihood. I am foreseeing a day when all these sectorial leaders will sit on the table, joy, and put behind us the diversity in Islam, our seeming differences, and see ourselves as Muslims, and collectively fight those, our common enemies.
He also urged Muslims to show more interest in politics, which influences policies and development.
And we cannot develop if we have no relationship with politics. Politics brings development. Politics impacts on our livelihoods. Politics impacts on our adeen. The policies that government, day in, day out, fashions out, we need to be interested and be asking ourselves whether the policies are policies that we as Muslims can also contribute.
Bono Regional Minister Justina Osu-Banahene, in her remarks, appealed to the imams to show more interest in the education of their children for development.
Education is the bedrock of development. In this respect, I call on imams as leaders of the Muslim community to show extra interest in the education of the Muslim children by collaborating with the Islamic Education Unit to ensure quality teaching and learning in the Islamic schools. Indeed, this is one of the surest ways development can take place in the Muslim communities. Notwithstanding with this, the country is faced with some pockets of spousal murders, religious fanaticism, bribery and corruption, destruction of farmlands, and crossed by nomadic herdsmen, among others, have security implications, which I urge our eminent imams to address at the mosques during their meetings.
Precious Semevo, Joy News, Sunyani.
Now, former Finance Minister Seth Terkper wants Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to take advantage of the support system available to him to fix the current economic crisis. Ghana is currently struggling to get its debt settled as part of the conditions for a bailout from the IMF amidst resistance from some domestic creditors. Now, speaking on PM Personality Profile with Aisha Ibrahim, Mr. Terkper said though he sometimes felt bad for the minister, he thought the minister was not making maximal use of the Finance Ministry's support system to deal with the economic challenges.
Below the EMT, Economic Management Team, there's another body called the Economic Policy Coordination Committee, which brings together, directors or chief directors of the Ministry of Finance, Statistical Service, NPC, Bank of Ghana, governors and whatever. Right. And as deputy, I used to, the minister chairs that, and that's technical. Okay. Right? It's not like EMT or cabinet where you have EMT also because you have, eminent people who have been in various positions from various sectors, right. And then the sectors also came. Okay. So when you have rigorous discussions, and that's where you synthesize a lot of, what is going, on with the economy. So the statistician is telling you, bringing his perspective, the planning people, and so that's another effective tool that we have. So In short, I'm saying the challenges are there, but the support is there. You have development partners. Remember I spoke about technical assistance. You know, they come and, you know, they are sitting behind, like the mission staff for the fund at both the bank and the fund. Their offices here. You know, you are going under so many tensions and whatever, but they are back and looking at what's going on. So in one meeting, 2 meetings, or 2-week mission, they can tell you a lot.
Yeah.
You know, so you take the staff, you take the Article 4. Yeah. 2020, I use a lot. 2019, 2021. It tells us everything about what is going wrong.
Right.
And we have to just take them, you know, those documents seriously. We are taking some of them seriously. Would we have these challenges? Yes, maybe with COVID and all that, but maybe we could have better them. And also, if you consider that this is the only crisis where we had the most money to manage it. 6 billion, you add our own 2 billion, sovereign bond and others, 3 oil fields. Yeah, there was enough money. Considering that every program that we did, you know, you barely got a billion. Some were just 550, some are 850 million. But we're talking billions of US dollars. So something really, I think that one day we should be able to sit back and see fundamentally what is it that went wrong.
In our next story, some technicians in the Ashanti region have been trained on how to properly dispose of electronic waste to keep the environment clean. It is part of efforts to reduce and effectively manage electronic waste in various communities by avoiding burning, which releases toxic substances into the atmosphere. The Technician Association of Electronics Equipment, Ghana, says the training will significantly help technicians in the electronics industry to protect both the environment and human lives. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
A lot of electronic waste being brought to Ghana here. But due to the way the waste was being processed, it created a bad image for Ghanaians, like what happened in Akakpo recently. It made it one of the most toxic places on earth. So we came here together to train technicians for them to understand the hazardous parts of electronics and the valuable parts.
According to Jeffrey Adongo, an executive member of the association, technicians can make money while learning how to properly dispose of electrical equipment.
So through the training that is being held here, there are some valuable components in the electronics. So some technicians can store a lot of electronics in their warehouses or in their shops, but they don't know the value in them. So through this training, we teach them that, okay, this component is valuable and you can have an income of such amount. So when you pile it up and you give it to the right channel, you can get money from it. And part of those things are also hazardous. So we also train them on the proper way that they can dismantle them.
The technicians have also been taught to wear their protective equipment
and how they can also take care of their own health. You know, some also do soldering with the lead. They don't put on nose masks. They don't have protective equipment. So it also has adverse effects on their health. So this is to help them and help the environment in general.
Some of the technicians who took part in the training commended the association for making such significant contribution.
I can give it to some scrap people and take in money, or I can maybe use my own idea to face it out.
Me pese omobe say senke aban na say ankran bitimi asum na training etimi ago nationwide ama obia layman kra biti say ya yinim ho hwe no yetimi ehun say no ade bi si o ya ense enye si obi betimi asum na say aban na say ankran bitimi asum ama sa training etimi ago nationwide nke be boa nyina because training ai ba me na minim enema bibra na kan na ye but ye ba training we say no enema bibra ye ya enye say ye be ye mfansi bia condemn ye be hihye enema bia na say be dispose enema even sometimes so share environment as I say nim the values in sa electronic gadgets are ye use nim no as I say nim the values in that them no. And I say, yeah, no, say just you dispose in the environment in more rough near the day.
Today I've learned a lot more from this program. I'm able to learn that there's nothing that it's called disposable. Everything can be recycled. So I learned that the devices that we have used, the old one, we are not supposed to throw it away that way. We are supposed to send it to a proper disposal place for them to know the pieces, how it's going to help all of us. So that's what I've learned. And I also learned that we have electronic waste. All this that we are sending, or whenever that device has spoiled, we are not supposed to throw it away. We have to send it to the recycle processes for them to recycle, for to help us. Because everything that we do, when you give it to those that are coming for the, I don't know the English name, but I can say condemn. If you give it to them, maybe if they want to extract the copper, what they do is they burn it. And when they burn it, it gives poisonous gases through the air. And when we all get diseases, airborne diseases, etc. So giving to the right person, that for them not to burn it, but know the right process to extract the valuable and the hazardous one is going to be will help all of us.
A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Government has begun the renovation of the 250-year-old Philip Kwakwe Boys School in Cape Coast. The promise by the president to renovate the first school in West Africa was in response to a plea by the Omanhene of the Ogwa traditional area, Osaberima Kwesi Atta, II, during Ghana's Independence Anniversary Parade in Cape Coast. Central Regional Minister Justina Marigold Asan indicated how the completion of the work will be a source of joy to the people of Cape Coast, the Central Region, and the community of tourists. There's more in this report.
Undoubtedly, the history of formal education in West Africa cannot be written without making reference to Philip Kwaku Boys School, as it is the first formal school in the then Gold Coast and the West African sub-region. The school has been in a deplorable state for years now, sparking safety and historical concerns. The beginning of the renovation works comes as a huge relief to residents of Cape Coast who've been waiting for the president to fulfill the promise he made during last year's Independence Day celebration. At a brief ceremony to hand over the site to the contractor for the extensive renovation of the school, Central Regional Minister Justina Marigold Asan indicated the start of the project is a dream come true for the people of the Central Region.
In response to a very beautiful request, the Osaberima Kwesi Atta, that Ogwamahene, told His Excellency the President that he wanted him to support him to renovate Philip Kwaku Boys School. When we are talking about Philip Kwaku Boys School in Cape Coast, we all know the history behind the school. It dates back 250 years ago, which is a long time ago, and the first basic school in the Ghana, I think, even sub-regions. So it's a very huge project. And again, we talk about Central Region being the heartbeat of tourism in the country. So if it has got that history behind the school, then it's so important for His Excellency the President to come in to renovate or rehabilitate the project so that we can add it to the stock of tourist sites that we have in the region. So today, this morning, we are here with the consultant, the contractor, to take possession of the site so that work can go on in earnest.
The contractor for the project, Cynthia J, told Joy News all is set for the commencement of the project.
The consultant had put in a lot of work. I think the discussion have been going on, drawings have been going on about a year now. Now everything is in place and it's been awarded to us. We are here to work, and we promise that we are going to put in our best and hand over the project in a very short time. Yeah, there's an ICT center, there's a football pitch, there's a modern facility classroom for the school, both Philip Kwaku girls and boys. The timelines is between a year and a half for handing over.
Cape Coast Metro Director of Education, Madam Asante Krobia, revealed that the renovation works are for both the Philip Kwaku boys and girls, and some arrangements have been done for the school pupils so that academic work will not be affected.
But we asked that he should help us with Philip Kwaku boys, and he ended up adding Philip Kwaku girls to it. That shows how he was committed to help us. And so today, once we have started, He had even made a makeshift classroom for the student, for the pupils and the students to move to. So we believe that once we started, it's going to end, and he's saying within 6 months, he's going to hand it over to us. In fact, we know we have a problem with the maintenance culture, but we are pledging that if he has been able to do this for us, we asked for one and he added another one. We know we have more, so we'll do everything possible within our capacity to maintain.
This extensive renovation will restore the age-old glory of the school as the first school in West Africa with the state-of-the-art facilities.
And on that Philip Kwaku note, we wrap the news. Do stay with us. The news review up next.